House, and some of the things people thought that they had lied, people thought they were overspending. So I think that there was gloating on both sides for once on the election results this time.
Hugh Hewitt, Dan Cole of Los Angeles writes, didn't Donald Rumsfeld cut and run by resigning in the middle of a war, just like Robert McNamara did during Vietnam?
No, of course not. It was at the pleasure of the president. The president made clear to him, as was discussed after the day after the election, that he would like a change, and so he left. And that's what the Article 2 power is in the president, to be the commander-in-chief. So the defense secretary serves at the pleasure of the president. I want to go back to the anecdotal stuff. A key piece of information. In Ohio, on Tuesday last, 1.6 million fewer people voted than voted in 2004. This was an off-year election. It's not a mandate for Democrats to go wacky on us, though they're going to go wacky on us. It simply is what happens every 6 years in a presidency. So your friends in Florida are not other than your friends in Florida. What you've got is a low turnout 6-year election.
Well, it was a midterm election, but it was a big turnout for a mid-year election or a midterm election. So yes, you're right. The midterm election, always you have fewer people voting. But for this one, it was a big one for what it was.
Next up is Jefferson, Texas, on our line for independence. Good morning.
Good morning, C-SPAN. Mr. Hewitt, have you not gotten the message that the Republicans are going to try and be bipartisan over the next couple of years? You turn people off with your sarcastic ways when this country is trying to get together. You have a do-nothing Congress with the Republicans. You don't want to be bipartisan. You just want to whack, as you say, the Democrats. This country needs us to get together. And maybe your remarks go over well on your talk show, but they don't seem to go over very well with me and a lot of people that really are independent.
Sir?
Well, I'm not bipartisan. I think bipartisanship is silly. I think it's an excuse for going left. My best friends are Democrats. Christy and I were talking beforehand. I've got so many good friends who are Democrats, and they're not evil. They're just wrong. And they've been wrong for a long time. The Democrats aren't unpatriotic. They're just wrong. But bipartisanship, this is one of those terms that get thrown around by people who want to win easy. This is a very ideologically diverse Congress. It's very divided on very important issues. Chuck Schumer yesterday said that he will block the next Alito. Justice Alito is one of the most superbly qualified justices in the history of the United States. And so we're going to have some battles, and they're important battles. It doesn't mean I don't like you. I love you. But you're wrong.
Mesa, Arizona, on our line for Republicans. Go ahead.
Hey, hello, Hugh.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, glories.
Even Grace.
Hey, you Browns are going to lose this weekend.
What a flash that is.
It's going to take it. Hey, I'd just like to say the caller that commented on your military service. Hey, I'm a combat veteran, 101st Airborne Division. You speak for me every time. I also want to give you a plug on your town home. I'm messing it up, but
townhall.com.
On there.
Yeah.
And now I can listen to a commercial straight through the internet, and it is just excellent. And I have a question for Christy. Christy, I know that liberals are passionate and they're all fired up, and they did a good job this last time around. But how is it Air America is tanking? Can you answer that, please?
Well, I actually don't work for Air America. I go on some shows there, so I know nothing about how it's run. I'd love to say, oh, the following 5 reasons are what they need to do, but frankly, I don't know, so I'm not even going to try and pretend that I do.
Next up is Reston, Virginia, on our line. Democrats, good morning.
Yes, this is Eldak. I want to thank God, for Senator Martha and the Democratic leadership, especially Senator Byrd, God bless his health. Without the Democratic winner, I believe the international community will drag our country, our great country, to the international court for crime against the humanity in first time in history. And I thank God for the Democratic winner, especially for that. reason, because I hate to see this great country and great, decent human being to be dragged into international court for crime against humanity, because, you know, Iraq got nothing to do with all of this. And we're killing the Iraq and we're killing our people with no reason. And cut and run from crime, it's not shame thing to do, Mr. Republican citizen there, and not aware of what's really happening there, and not respect, you know, our intelligence and our society as a decent human being. Don't want to commit this crime against the international community or any human being in this earth.
Reston, where are you from originally?
I'm from Middle East.
Where in the Middle East?
I'm born and raised in Egypt, even though that we are immigrant Italian long time, because my last name is Sabatini.
Thanks for your call. Mr. Hewitt.
Well, I agree with him. I wish for the good health of Senator Byrd. I love Senator Byrd. Senator Byrd is the best thing to ever happen to talk radio. He's also a legend, and I would love to interview him because he is a walking history book on the Senate. There's a fine cover story in the New Atlantic Monthly on Senator Clinton, which talks about how Senator Byrd and she clashed on health care when Hillary came up, and then he mentored her when she arrived at the Senate. And it really revealed a different side. And Senator Byrd's orations are certainly gold for radio, but I certainly wish for his good health and long, successful 6-year term, and congratulate him on his reelection.
Clements, Maryland, on our line for Republicans. Go ahead.
I'm a Republican, and Republican still means the same thing, small government and states' rights. George Bush, I think, is a man of character. Dick Cheney, who used to be my neighbor, is clever but not devious. We need a communicator in the Republican Party in the White House, not Rove. He wins elections but doesn't keep Bush there. I'd do the same as Bush did. I'd trust the generals in the field. The ones who got caught, shame on them as individuals.
Christy Harvey, go ahead.
I think that the caller, he said that he was a Republican because he believed in small government and in states' rights. And in that sense, I'm not quite sure why he's such a big George Bush supporter. If you look at the past 6 years, this administration has really just blown up spending money, and it's the largest government we've ever had, I believe, and the deficit is out of control, absolutely. And then with states' rights, with things like No Child Left Behind and a lot of the environmental rules that this administration has tried to push over on the states without letting the states make their own decisions, I'm not quite sure why this caller was such a George Bush fan.
Next up is Lyons, Kansas, on our line for Independence. Hold on a second. Lyons, Kansas, you there?
Yeah, good morning, C-SPAN.
Good morning.
Good morning, Rob.
How are you?
Missed you. I'm an independent that voted split ticket. I basically leaned a little bit to the conservative side. I don't see anything conservative in 6 years. I also see that anybody voted for George Bush in 2004 has to share the responsibility of everybody over there that's dying and getting hurt. I'm a 4-tour Vietnam disabled vet. I'm telling you straight up, there isn't just Republicans that's coming home wounded and tore up. They hurt deeply when you say cut and run. You're no Rush Limbaugh, but you smell a little bit like him. I don't think your ratings on your show will go up much. That's about all I got to say. Thank you.
Thanks for your call. Thanks
for your service. And again, he didn't call me ugly, and he didn't root for Michigan, so he's okay by me. I want to go back to the last caller because I was talking last night, had dinner with a former senior Clinton administration press guy from the White House, and we agreed that Tony Snow's reinventing the role of the press secretary, and he's reinventing how you engage with the American people, and it's the greatest thing ever. The problem that the Bush administration had in the last 2 years is that they did not engage enough. And I actually had Secretary Rumsfeld on the show. I said, you got to do more of this. You got to talk to people for a half hour and 45 minutes. And the president's got to do more of that, and the vice president's got to do more of that. And Mitch McConnell coming on last night. We got a great story to tell. We are right. The war is important. The war is not a war of choice. It's a war of necessity. And they've got it. When General Abizaid comes on the program, talks